So why is business process management important? ERP implementations result in a lot of changes to the business and the organization. It's not about the technology, it really is about the people. And so what business process management helps us do is it helps us identify those process and organizational changes. So you're always going to have a current state in the way that everyone is doing business today, and that's going to change regardless, whether you take an out-of-the-box solution or whether you improve a process to gain efficiency. People's roles and the way that they perform tasks can change slightly. And so what this does is it allows you to identify where those changes are going to happen, and it allows you to identify if there are going to be any resistance to those particular changes, or if a change requires additional training, it allows you to identify what those additional training needs will be, so that you're able to communicate those transitions or those impacts to the individuals who are affected by the change. It looks at the areas in the company that are key differentiators to you. So it's really not about the software package. It's about what processes within your company give you that competitive advantage. And for those, you want to make sure that you don't lose any of that competitive advantage when you put in a new software package. So business process management allows you to pull those processes out, allows you to really look at them and examine them and improve them so that you can understand what you need the new system to handle, understand what you need the new system requirements to be, and understand how you need the new system to handle that design of your business process. And this impacts the overall cost estimation, because sometimes when you need a process to work a specific way and it's not exactly aligned with the out-of-box solution, but you really can't afford to take the out-of-box solution, because if you do, you could potentially lose that competitiveness, you might have to customize the system. And so by doing this, it allows you to identify those areas that are going to require customization and what does that customization equate to in terms of cost. The other thing business process management does is it helps identify those key performance indicators needed to measure performance improvement and project cost savings. So you hear it all the time that you can't manage what you don't measure. So when you go through the process of business process management and you look at a particular process under a microscope, you're able to talk about what are some of the key performance indicators you want to use to measure the efficiency of that process. And then once you come to an agreement on what some of those KPIs are, you're able to gather a baseline to understand how the current system is operating today, and then set up a measurement strategy of how often you want to measure the process to see if you are, in fact, realizing those improvements you put in place. Business process management is mandatory for all ERP implementations if you want to do it right. It really does reduce the overall risk to the project. It reduces the risk because you don't risk putting, you don't risk compromising a process that gives you that competitive edge by taking an out-of-box solution when maybe you shouldn't. It reduces your overall risk to cost overruns because you understand how the system needs to be designed, and you don't run into excessive customization costs. And it also identifies what some of those change impacts are going to be so that you can clearly communicate and train those new processes to the organization so that you get their buy-in. Because if you can have the best system in the world, but if you don't get the people bought in, or you try and change processes without communicating those changes to the end users, then you risk them not using the system, and that puts your project at risk at all, as well. Business process management increases the return on investment and identifies other cost-saving opportunities. So you will get an ROI by putting a new system in place. A lot of companies are very manual. They do a lot of tracking in Excel worksheets and a lot of manual entries and duplicate entries. And so, of course, when you put a system in, you're going to realize some return on investment for the time savings, or having better visibility to information that you can make real-time business decisions. But if you do business process management and you improve some of your processes before you put that system in, you only augment that return on investment, because you're going to look at those processes, identify those non-value-added steps or tasks, and remove them from the system, giving you more efficiency and cost-saving gains. And it ensures that key differentiating business processes and logic are not lost during the implementation. So again, talking about that competitive edge, making sure that you understand what are the pieces of a specific process that give you that competitive edge in the marketplace, and making sure that you don't lose those or cover them up when you put a new system in place.